Morning all and welcome back once again to I Like Watches 2. The fourth and final watch that I ordered a little while ago from AliExpress has now arrived. It is an escapement time. I have bought this watch before, but I bought a different version of it. I was keen to get this version in. I think I made a mistake the first time and got the watch with the gilt hands and applied indexes. This time I went with the all silvery coloured option with the white dial, and yeah, this is much better. And although Escapement Time don't discount their watches for the sales, some of the discounts that you get during the sales are from AliExpress and so can be applied to any items. So at the moment I'm being offered this watch with $12 off, dropping the price to $77 before tax and shipping. I think shipping is free actually. So yeah, you can pick Escapement Time watches up discounted during the sales, and this one is definitely one to consider if you like your sort of vintage inspired dressier Seiko, King Seiko, Grand Seiko looking watches, which of course I do. I love vintage watches, I love Seikos, and this is right up my alley. Now the Chinese writing on the dial is a bit of a turn off, I'm not going to lie, and there's more Chinese writing on the case back, but at the end of the day it is a watch from China, and that is one of the reasons why it is exceptional value. And the movement inside this is a quartz movement, so a number of you are now switching over to another channel, but for those of you that are sticking around, it's actually a Citizen Miyota 2S60 I believe, and I looked these movements up. They're actually roughly £20 to buy on their own. These aren't sort of $2 movements. 10-year battery life with these movements, and the second hand actually seems pretty solid, although it's not hitting the markers every single time. On the way down between 12 and 6 it seems to more often, and then between 6 and 12 it's missing a little bit more depending on the angle that you have the watch. But actually it's not a bad movement as far as affordable quartz movements go. There is a date complication. Accuracy is plus minus 20 seconds a month. So it is a very affordable, gorgeous looking pick up and go. And the hands on this thing are gorgeous, actually. Very nicely cut. The applied indexes are a bit soft, as is the finishing on the case, but the hands are super crisp and the dial is simple, very plain. Yeah, not taking anything away from the hands and those applied indices, which is really what you should be focusing on. The hands in particular, I've got to be honest, they are stunning actually. So I'm very pleased with those. Yeah, the case has different facets on it, some corners, they're not particularly crisp. They've not spent a lot of money polishing this case, clearly. You know, why would they? They're selling these for $77 at the moment. They're roughly $90 odd normally. Yeah, you're not going to get incredibly crisp Zaratsu polishing with these watches, but for the money I think it's definitely good enough. And the leather strap is actually, it's all right. The hardware matches the finishing on the case. It's polished basically. The strap is unbranded, but it's a good looking strap. It's soft, malleable, got nice contrasting stitching. It's better than I was expecting. Now this is a smaller than average watch, certainly for watches nowadays. Obviously it's vintage inspired, so the diameter and the dimensions in general are more in keeping with older watches. So this watch is gonna fit slightly larger than average wrists down to quite a bit smaller than average. Yeah, if you've got a larger or much larger than average wrist, forget about it. I think it's probably going to be too small. But I don't mind watches this size, and with it being a quartz, it's not too tall. It does have sapphire crystal, box crystal. There is some distortion, so it's not a piece of true double-domed sapphire crystal, but there's not a huge amount of distortion, and what there is, I think you'd be happy with, because again, it is a vintage inspired watch. 50 meters of water resistant, screw down case back, pull push crown. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot, but then, you know, I like these sorts of watches. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments section. $77, I think that's all right.